While everyone is chasing the hottest stocks, the real money is made on the stocks that no one is talking about. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you three stocks that look like they're bottoming out and that could jump anywhere from 50 to 100% very soon. Okay, so let's go over real quick in this video the year-to-date performance. I actually did hit an all-time high at 92%, but had a drawdown here, excuse me, at 87.9% year-to-date performance. Okay, awesome year. Definitely the best year I've done so far to date. Um, so that's that. Let's get right into the video here. Let's talk about the first stock. CNC is one that was actually brought up inside the private Telegram group, and I like this one a lot. Okay, one, there's a huge gap right here in this stock, right? So this is a good sign for this is already like I like the idea of filling this gap up. But here's the sweet part about CNC, okay? Because I like to use Gacktron to figure out these areas of interest, the biggest level of support and resistance, the entry points, price targets for sure. This makes the job a lot easier when it comes to figuring out how to trade CNC or any ticker, honestly. Okay, but again, if we just zoom out here, CNC has been on a huge downfall for the last, since what? September of 2022 here. And right now it's looking like it's going to try and make a recovery run. And I'm going to share with you what I'm seeing here. And again, you might want to actually start marking these levels as well. So first thing is first, okay, we can see here that CNC on the daily levels is in a very bullish call dominated environment. So this is Gacktron. Gacktron is the tool that I use that it has all the models that I use to automate this stuff for me. It just tells me pretty much where are the entries, where are the support and resistance levels, where are the price targets. It makes my job easier because then all I have to focus on is just execution, buying the option contract or the shares, whatever the case is. And then I just do that. I just focus on execution. So if you want to get access to Gacktron, actually, I do recommend you joining the community here. It's a free community. Every now and then a I'll make a post that says I'm putting out free invite codes, which I'm probably going to do it again here in the next couple of days. So if you want access to that, you might want to consider joining. It's free, and all you have to say is just say invite. Okay, so that's that. But let's go back to CNC here. Here's what I see so far. We are in a very bullish environment. And the reason I like this is because P-trans, which is the level that tells us here, when does it become call dominated? When can we go long on a position, right? You don't want to be in a bearish dominated environment for a stock and then go long, because that's just risky. That's going against the trend, right? And we like to trade directional. So we like to make sure that we start entering on a security, on a trade when it starts to become bullish. So we are way above that, which was 32. The reason it's 32, and this is P-trans level for us, is because it's the first positive bar here on Gextron, and the next three bars to the right are positive. That pattern, that four sequence positive bar pattern, just tells us that this is a good starting point for a bullish call dominated environment. So in this case, 32 is that level for us. Now, what this tells us so far, Gextron, is that it's very, very easy. Like any tall bars, whether they're negative or positive bars, that's what we call areas of interest. And we can see here that CNC does have a big area of interest. It's the tallest area of interest because there's a vertical line here at 35. Okay, so I'm actually going to mark that as MR, as the max resistance, max reward area, because it is the tallest one. So this can pose as a threat for the meantime on CNC. Okay, but here's what I like about it. One of the things I like about Gextron makes it really simple is price targets, and not just getting a price target, but by when, by a certain expiration, I can expect the price of a stock to go from the current price of 34.33 from today's date, which is September 24th, by a specific future date. What could be that possible price target? And in this case, when I like to look at the end of the year targets, because we only have like 3 months left into the year, which is October. September is practically over. October, November, December. So I like the start of the year. we have about an $8.41 move to the upside and to the downside. And all I have to do in Gextron is just go over this value, the top value, copy it, just click it, draw a line here, and I'll edit this. Okay. 4280 is that. I don't even think perfect. I don't think I had to do anything there. But that is the end of the year target. So I'll just mark this as EOY target. Okay. And so that's it right there. From where it's currently at to here is a 29% move as of right now. Okay. Now, I said this has about a potential bigger move. Okay. Probably about a 40 to 50% move from where it's currently at. And the reason I say that is because I want to look at what's going to happen into March or June, which is about a year out. You can see here we get closer to 44, 46, which is pretty much filling this gap. So over time, over the next 6 months or so, this is about 267 days out in expiration. I can expect this stock to move closer to the high 40 level, which would make it around 50. That is a great ROI. And as of right now, we are up 10% on our option cost, which is how we're trading this. We actually picked the January of 2027 calls, $45 strikes, and we picked it up at around the $4.40 marker per contract, and it's up about 10% as of right now. Okay, so we're willing to play the long game on this one and just let that do its thing until the data changes. Unless the data changes and tells us, hey, like this is no longer valid, that's a different case. But as of right now, this looks like a solid move. And one of my favorite parts about this, which I emphasize all the time, before you get into a trade, always look at the risk versus reward ratio. And in this case, you can see here on the tool, I'm using TradingView. It says risk reward ratio is 10.13. Solid risk versus reward ratio. Okay. This is the type of ratio that you want to be aiming for because it allows you to have fewer winners, a lot of losers, but still come out profitable, which is again how I managed to get a 87% year-to-date performance. Okay, so very, very important. So CNC is one of my favorite stocks here as of right now. Theoretically, around this area during a gap fill, there's technically not a lot of resistance. There's a lot of like uncertainty. So price can maybe potentially move swiftly through this zone, which is what I'm trying to target here. But more than anything, I had to keep a close eye on these levels. Okay. One of the important things to know about Gextron is that these levels are dynamic. They're always changing depending as whatever the option order or the option pricing is telling Gextron, because that's what Gextron does. It's always forward looking. It's always determining what that future price is going to be. Okay. And also what those future support and resistance levels can be. It can always flip on us. It doesn't mean that it has to hit the target. And by being dynamic and being ahead of before things actually happen, that allows us to either cut our losers at a very small loss, break even, or maybe just even take some small profit, and then we just get back in when the data looks good. But CNC is looking promising as of right now. Okay, the next ticker that I want to talk about is TTD. Okay, TTD is another similar setup where it has a giant gap fill. Okay, now from a long-term perspective, it looks extremely bearish just if you look at basic market structure, price action market structure, right? It looks pretty bearish. I don't expect a full recovery on this ticker, okay? But because they also have weaker earnings coming up in the next couple of quarters. But what I do expect here is a bounce from here, okay? And again, if we go look at the levels here, this is what I love about it and why I think this is a solid trade. As of right now, we're currently in shares. I'm not in option contracts right now, but I am looking for a position near the end of the week, which will be Friday, which will be September 26th. Okay, I will be looking for a position here. Again, another long-term swing trade. I want to capitalize on that high delta movement. That way I can just let the trade work, not worry about intraday stuff. But as of right now, the first positive bar is all the way here at 45.5. Okay, it's actually quite low. If anything, you could say even 46, right? Because this is actually kind of zero. So it's pretty much nothing. Now, so 46, 1, 2, 3, right? The next three bars to the right are positive. So this makes 46 the transitioning point of where TDD has entered a bullish transition in its environment, right? In the stock market. So now what I'm looking for is a long-term swing option. And now I know what the levels are, which we have 47, 48 is a bigger resistance, and 50, which is really important to know about Gextron because Gextron just doesn't give you tall bars and then that's just support resistance. Each tall bar actually has its own strength of resistance or support. So 47, even though it is a tall bar because it's taller than the average other bars that you see here, it's a small resistance zone. So I actually don't expect a whole lot of it. What I do expect is for TDD, for price to have a tougher time here at 48 and at 50. These are going to be the really big zones for it to, it's going to be hard for it to break through it. And if it does, it could potentially see even more upside potential. Now, here's the price target for TDD, which is by the end of the year, there is an expectation of 61.69. Okay. This trade, in my opinion, is going to be a good 20-30% move from where it's currently at if it can hold P-trans level. Okay. And what I want to aim for here in the upcoming months and going into next year as well too, like February, March, is start aiming for the 64, 63 area, which you can see here. Those are the price targets as of right now. And again, these price targets are dynamic. It's based on implied volatility, which is again forward looking. Okay, but I don't have to do any of that hard work. Gextron does it all for me, and I want to start aiming for going into this gap and see if it can fill the majority of this gap, which would make it a great trade. And if we look at risk versus reward ratio from where we currently got in, this makes it about a 35 RVR, which is a wonderful trade. Okay, very very little risk, very very high reward setup. So this is another trade that we like, and I consider that you should mark these levels as well too that I have here, which is 50, 48, and P trans is 46, where it starts. It's the final defense line of support. So that's that. Now, something to know about Gextron, like I said, it's dynamic. This stuff can change in the next hour, in the next 2 days, in the next week, in the next month. And if that is the case, then I will change my thesis and I will get out if I need to get out. Okay. That's the beautiful part about this application. It's always updating me into what's going on in the option market right now. So there's no like static level. It doesn't focus on the left-hand side, what happened 2 days ago. It doesn't care. It cares only about the future. Okay, so that's ticker number 2. Ticker number 3 is not JD, actually. Let me see. It's actually Lululemon, okay? Lululemon is actually a pretty solid stock, okay? Great company. And we actually have been in this trade for a few days now on the $250 strike call for September 2026. And we're currently up about 25 to 28% ROI, which already puts the contracts over $300 for the contract. But here's the thing about Lululemon. Right now, the biggest level of resistance is we caught it when it was around about this 175 marker or 172.5 P-trans level, which you can see here on the chart. It has not changed here for the last couple of days. So this is 1, 1, 2, 3, right? So P-trans is 172.5. 180 is the biggest level of resistance which we're about to meet it. So I expect a little bit of resistance. I expect price action to stall out a little bit there. But here's what I like about it. Okay. The end of the year, the quarterly price target and the end of the year price target. Something that you have to know about securities is that they move in quarterly cycles. Their quarter ends when earnings come up. And as of right now, and we could take a look at it right now as well too, their next earnings is going to be in December 4th of this year. If we look at the December 4th contract or an expiration that's close to that, for example, December 19th, we can see here that now they have an expected range of 38.44, and their actual quarterly top price target is actually 216.66. And I'm actually going to update this level right here, and that's the new target for the quarter. That's just here in a couple months, right? In 3 months. So with that said, this puts us at a 32 RVR. Very, very little risk. This means that I'm willing to risk 0.77% of the stock being lost from my current entry, but I'm aiming for a 24% move, which is $42 up to the upside for Lulu. Now, for the price target for the year, by the end of the year, the actual target is actually 221.07. So I'm actually going to mark that level right here, right now. And I would recommend that you would do the same too. 221.07 is the end of the year target. So what I'm going to do around these levels is probably end up taking some profit. I'm not going to close the entire position because when I look at this weekly time frame, I would love for this thing to retrace back to around the 250, 280 area before another potential rejection. Okay. That's the idea there. Okay. Now, the trading strategy is really, really simple. Okay. It's typically like, where is price above P trans and what are the price targets? And then I use the other daily levels, the other levels here, the tall bars, to figure out what's in the way of those levels. And then as long as the RVR makes sense, then I just execute. That is it. Okay. And again, because of that strategy, because of the way we look for stocks inside the private Telegram group, is how I'm able to nail an 87% year-to-date performance. And I'm actually expecting this to be back to 92% here very soon. But yeah, that's it. All right. If you have any questions, if you want to try out Gextron and when you want to get a free account, join the private school community here, which there's going to be a link in the description. Okay. Just on the next post, keep an eye out for it in the next couple of days, because you'll just say invite. Let me know that you want an invite and I'll create a code for you. If you want to join the private Telegram group and trade with me, I'll put a link in the description. If you have any questions, put a comment down below and I will see you on the next one. Peace.